Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's good.
And I did kick ass.
Yeah.
Well, you picked up where I left off. You know, I mean, I handed the sticks off after we got to all the good stuff. You know, but I mean, we got to see the dirty needles, the butt plugs, and the dildos. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I realized
you missed the naked chick that cried, though.
What?
And, yes.
Oh,
well, that's true. I'll give you that. But I
Yeah.
also got
He had a pretty good run.
I got the dirty.
Grown-up human comic people! Grown-up human comic people!
Welcome to the show. This is episode number 51 of Grown-Up Human Comic People. This is a second episode, meaning that we have been doing this for at least one episode previously.
And the points have skyrocketed.
Holy fuck. We still got some guests with us. We'll go. Actually, I totally forgot this last time. We traditionally raise the glass. Cheers, everyone. Let's have a good time. There we go. And clinks. There we go. All right. So, go around the table. Introduce everybody. Start with the humans, and we've got a subhuman today, and we've got some guests. So, to my left, Chris, J-Man,
Hey.
Dan.
Oh, it's still me.
I'm Jared. We're the humans. We got a subhuman with us, Jonathan, and we have the wonderful gentleman from PRG, Pittsburgh Retro Gaming. We got Colt.
I feel like there's less whiskey here than there was last time.
There is, but we have.
Psych.
There's more over there. Yeah, I brought some.
Lots of wiggling
Yeah.
going on.
And we got Brian.
Hey,
You have to wiggle it just a little bit. Wiggle it.
Yep, that's where we're at right now.
Yep.
So, welcome to the show. You can find us at grownuphumans.com, at epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans. Check out Epicast. They got a bunch of cool podcasts on there. They help to distribute our podcast. We have a sister podcast called In the Pit on there, which Chris is a part of. Check that out. Make sure to rate and review us on iTunes, Google Music, Stitcher, and Libsyn. And you can find us on all the social medias at Grown Up Human Comic People or Grown Up Humans, whichever. Check out Radical Trivia. You can go to radicaltrivia.com. You want some sweet live trivia shows around the Pittsburgh area. Check out Midnight Rose, sweet classic rock band. Just find that on the social media. That's MIDKNIGHT.
When are we going to do a show at Midnight Rose and Grey Walker?
Dude, whenever. We're down with that. That'd be fun. Yeah,
Fuck
absolutely.
Yeah. I'm into that.
Yeah,
Then I'll have to buy 2 shirts, one for each pit.
I think you already have a Midnight Rose shirt.
I do, but I probably won't bring an extra shirt.
That's
with
fair. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
You'll wear the Midnight Rose shirt.
me. I'll wear.
Switch.
Yeah. Well, I probably
Or
won't.
vice versa.
Yeah, I guess because now I have one of each. A sweet ass Grey Walker shirt. Just wore that the other day. Wore it to the gym, teach class. People were like, "It's that sweet ass shirt." I was like, well,
you should do a mashup shirt. It should be Midnight Rose, Grey Walker, and it should be 8-bit.
what it should be is Midnight Walker, and it could be a monstrous whore.
Oh, what if it was like it was 8-bit and it was like the style of an RPG that has like a team with like a bunch of characters like Final Fantasy, only it's like little sprites of everyone in both bands.
It'd be an 8-bit RPG sprite band of Grey Walker if it was a classic rock
And
band.
the cap should be "What a terrible night to have a curse."
That's a hell of a reference.
Yeah, that is.
I do. We should definitely do that. In fact, we just did our first like kind of show that we set up ourselves at the Oaks Theater in Oakmont, and it was a great show. We could set something like that up again. It'd be fucking awesome. And as we probably both know, it's just like way easier to do your own shit, especially when it's with bands that you know, because like there's no like I wonder if we're gonna get paid.
Fuck are these guys?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Dude,
it's like,
whatever happened to house shows? Why don't
Well,
There should be a fucking sweet-ass house show.
You
Cult
never
moved.
came to any of my house shows. We used to have the best fucking house shows ever. Like
seriously,
epic.
you could just like
Oh yeah, we'd have like 70 people in my basement, but like that's insane in my old basement.
Far beyond
Fucking
capacity.
ridiculous. I had to live there. Like, I wake up the next day, my whole house would there'd be like people on the floor, and it would smell like cigarettes and beer, and it's like gross. I've since moved up from there. So if you know somebody with a house, I'll be down.
So
Yeah.
your house is nice now.
We're not doing that there.
No,
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
we can do it right here. We can just pull the cars out of the garage.
Well, I was actually we've talked about that before. Like once the blue car can move, like, we'll pull the cars out of the garage and I'll lock the basement door so no one can go upstairs, and we'll just have a show down here because the stuff's already set up.
Fuck
Yeah.
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 My
If
rate
Greg
is
was here right
$45
now,
an hour. I'll work that door for you.
I mean, that's not an unreasonable. Yeah.
My boss played one of your house shows.
Who's your boss?
Al Ignaski.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I know Al.
So he actually saw us like become friends on Facebook, and he's my fucking boss. And he came over to me and he goes, "How do you know Colt?" And
And his name is Alec Nasty?
Al.
It is now. God
I told. I feel.
Nasty.
I actually. Oh, I've said that numerous times.
Alec Nasty?
Ignaski. That's a great.
Oh, Al Ignasty.
No.
Iggy Nasty. That's fucking
No.
awesome.
Wait, what's his name?
Al
That's
Ignaski.
Honestly,
Oh.
I think that's going to be my stage name from now on. Is Iggy Nasty.
That's a great stage.
He's gonna fucking
Yeah.
love this because
That's just gonna stick.
I keep telling him I'm gonna bring him up in this to like incite him to listen to it, and now I've actually used his full name for it. Yeah.
Alec Nasty. Big shout out.
Big ups to Alec.
Keep it gross out there, Alec.
Hashtag Alec Nasty.
Those house shows were fun as fuck. Like,
Fuck yeah, man. House shows are fun regardless.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be good. The band doesn't even have to be good. They're just usually fun and rocking.
I mean,
Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah.
It helps if
bands are
they're good. But
Yeah.
like if they're intense, they don't have to be necessarily
As long as
good.
they're trying 100%, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're there to have a good fucking time. As long as everyone's there to have a good time, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
definitely like swing from the rafters while I'm playing, like holding
Oh, yeah.
on to the rafters, just swinging.
Hell yeah.
kicking
Fuck
people in
yeah.
the face.
What are you, fucking Goro? Swinging from the rafters and playing at the same time?
That took me a second. I was like, that's not one of his moves.
No, his physiology, not his
yeah,
moves.
yeah.
I gotta jerk off Grey Walker for a second here. I was gonna do it last episode, but I don't know. We got interrupted with it, but man, so we did a Grey Walker interview on In the Pit, and then we were there for your and Dan accompanied me for that for the music video. And man, did you guys fucking just rage that? And I don't listen to metal very often, so I've avoided most of the shows because I don't like metal. But and I
avoid most of the shows because I don't like your music.
yeah, I don't. And I've told Brian that multiple times. We've been friends for so long, and I was just like, man, I just don't really like metal, and I don't want to try and pretend that I want to like your band. I told him that straight up, like I don't want to. And he was like, yeah, no, I understand. And I really liked Sykes and the New Violence. So since we were going to have you guys on, I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to come here. I'm going to get stuff. And you guys, I'm not just saying this. You blew me away. This stage presence was insane. And you yourself you're an animal.
Well, I like to say, I come to fuck around. Just kidding, I don't fuck around. Yeah, and to make it relate to comic books, how about, since you guys were there, like Bud was total, could be a comic book character. Like the eggplant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw him outside, like with this fucking giant mohawk.
So there's
I did that. I put that mohawk up for him.
It looked good, man. Like it took me back. Like
I'm old
honestly,
school punk rock. I can do a mohawk like no
yeah,
problem.
that dude. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to need an explanation on the eggplant thing.
I'll get you a picture while he's talking.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, you'll see it.
I kind of meant for the
Oh.
people listening to the podcast.
You know what? It's better if you just describe the picture that,
Okay, I can do that.
he gives to you.
Okay.
And also, you're going to see it in the Grey Walker music video that comes out. Do you guys have an ETA on that?
No.
Okay, so it's coming out eventually.
But honestly,
right,
that
here
dude's
you go.
mohawk
Okay.
and like the intensity,
Ooh.
whatever song you guys opened up with, I was like, oh man. Like I had no intention. I just had knee surgery less than 6 weeks ago. I had no intention of being in any pit. Like none at all. That dude's incredible mohawk and the intensity of that first song, I was like, I'm 16 again. Let's fucking do this. Let's fucking do this for 45 minutes. And I did not leave that pit one time for the entire fucking set. And I was drenched in sweat, and I couldn't have been fucking
That's how we
happier.
sell T-shirts. We get everybody in the pit, get all sweaty,
Yeah.
and they have to buy a new shirt.
Grey Walker is actually just a screen printing company. They started to sell T-shirts.
So what I'm looking at right now. Is a large eggplant being crowd surfed, and then a man.
It's 5 foot long, inflatable.
Yeah, inflatable eggplant, and then a man who looks like he has followed the eggplant off stage, is trying to also surf, like body surf on an eggplant on a crowd.
That's crowd surf.
Crowd-
Is what we call it.
Yes, but he's not directly on the crowd, so he's on the eggplant.
He's eggplant.
He's eggplant surfing. The eggplant
Moving
is crowd
Tony Hawk
surfing.
Pro Skater, the eggplant.
Yeah. This is this real serious manual.
It's like the epic version of Revenge of the Nerds. What it should have been at the end of the movie.
Wait, first of all, it's already epic at the end of Revenge of the Nerds. Let's not pretend
I
that
absolutely agree with you. I completely agree with epic is the right word. It's the metal version
Okay, that's-
of the
yeah.
end of Revenge of the Nerds.
Reasonable.
Wait,
Every
what
time
was-
I see Bud's hair mohawk, I automatically am transported back to that moment when I saw it for the first time in that movie.
what's his name? Is it Poindexter?
Poindexter.
Yes, Poindexter.
Yeah.
Got
Is it-
Poindexter on the violin and
Lewis and Gilbert will be joining in. We got Booger Presley on a mean guitar and a rap by little old me Lamar.
Wait, Lamar?
It's Lamar. Yeah.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait, what's the name of the fraternity?
Fucking
Delta.
Is it?
No, it's Alpha.
No. It's
Lambda.
Lambda, and Omega Mu.
And we come here on stage tonight to do a show for you.
Fuck, that's so goddamn incredible.
That's a great song. I don't care.
And
That's like 8 minutes long.
Right. No, it's not that long.
No?
No. I play trivia sometimes.
Bud
It's
is
only
the
a few minutes.
complete like metal personification of that moment. You know, and when to see him on the back of that eggplant, it all made sense.
Yeah.
There was nothing bizarre about that. It all made sense.
I like Bud. Like immediately, I just looked at him and I was like, "You look like somebody that I liked a lot 10 years, 20 years ago."
He looks like someone I would always be excited to see.
Yeah, and he looks like somebody who's always excited when you see him.
Yeah.
I like that dude. Way to go, Bud. We don't really know each other, in fact, at all. I help to support you physically.
And we say his name all the time anyway. So
Yeah, Bud.
yeah,
Well, is it funny that we're cousins and I'm Colt and he's Bud?
that's really funny. You guys gonna get shirts?
Why so much church? You should get tattoos.
We do have matching tattoos.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not a Colt and Bud tattoo.
You have to wear the Bud shirt. He wears the Colt shirt.
Well, you definitely need a Billy D. Williams shirt for sure,
Yeah.
and he needs a Spuds McKenzie shirt.
Fucking shit. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I could see Bud though walking a Spuds McKenzie dog. That kind of dog looks like it should be with Bud.
you need a shirt
Like-
that is Billy D. Williams walking Spuds McKenzie.
Holy
Grey Walker needs to print that.
Yeah, Grey
Done.
Walker. Yeah, get on that.
Grown-up humans will only take 10%.
But yeah, we should definitely do a show. Because that would be it would be so much fun.
Speaking of shirts, we want to do a RoboCop shirt that says "Shreddy or not, you're riffing with me."
Oh man, it's too bad you're not a metal band because you'd be like, your move, punk, instead of creep. That's a worse one. Never mind. Sorry.
I understand you want to do that. And I get that, but you have to do that. Like it's not an option.
Are you going to draw it for us?
Yeah, I'll do it right now. It's going to be really bad, and you're going to regret asking me to do that. But I'm going to do it if that's what moves this timeline along. Sure.
So anyway, let's. Brian,
Pittsburgh
you wanna-
Retro Gaming Con.
let's talk about the con one more time.
Retro Gaming Con. Yeah, so you guys were a part of it last year. As every year, it's growing. Last year, we were pretty much isolated to one room inside the Ace Hotel in East Liberty. And this year, we're actually growing beyond the gymnasium. We're going to be in the gymnasium and the ballroom. And it's going to be 2 days. So it's instead of 1 day, it's 2 days. The first day is going to run from 10 a.m. till about midnight, right, Colt?
I'm just thinking, is it weird that we're like, So we're growing out of the gymnasium.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, no, and now we're out of the gymnasium.
No, I'm just
It
imagining.
sounds like a church event.
No, I'm imagining Creep Show where it like started out like it started growing in the gymnasium. Now it's growing out of the gymnasium. It's into the ballroom now. Before you know it, everybody's going to be covered in moss and shoot themselves in the head.
I was going to say, well,
I mean, to provide a little bit of history, in case folks didn't listen to the last episode or haven't listened to the last time we were on, we basically started in a game shop. No, not a whole lot bigger than this studio. Our first event was pretty small. It was about 80 people, and from there we moved to a arcade cafe on the south side called Victory Point, and then the next event we had was the Elks Lodge on the north side. And then we eventually ended up at the Ace Hotel in East Liberty. And every time we've moved, it has been a matter of necessity.
Yeah.
It's been a matter of growth, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I usually have a good time with growth.
Yeah.
Every time it just seems to grow bigger.
Yeah. It's weird.
It blows my mind.
Fortunately, this time, there was a second area we could grow into without having to leave the venue. So, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be 2 days of metal shows, video games, giveaways, and I think the best part of the whole thing is the fact that at the end of the day, it supports a charity. It goes to Children's Miracle Network, and
That was the closest yet.
That was the closest attempt. Yeah, we should have really, build that on the first attempt. But yeah, I mean, children's hospitals of the area, it's great that proceeds of this will go to that.
Yeah.
Last year we had a special raffle drawing that you could enter, and 100% of the proceeds from that went to this charity.
Nice.
And we had people involved as big as Microsoft and as local as local massage parlors were donating, giveaways.
The Chinese
for
So
this.
Relax.
Yeah. We've even been in touch with people like
You get sore playing video games and you need a little so relax massage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I get sore in a bunch of different areas
Us
playing video
nerds gotta
games.
get
And I
laid
need them to
somehow.
be massaged
especially when you're hitting
at
certain
any hour of the day.
when you're hitting certain levels of Parodius and there's certain phallic objects being flung at you.
You get
it's good to be
ideas.
able to relax. So it's good to have that complimentary massage.
You need to
that
get out
want
all
at-
the tension.
right that you wanted at PRG Con. But yeah, so we
You're really selling it over there, Brian.
hey, it's the second time around. It's not like anybody takes it easy here.
Also, a thing that I forgot to mention about the con and because we're going to work, we'll also be there is that we will again have we'll have a raffle going for the plate that everyone's talking about.
The paper plate from last year.
Oh, it's upstairs on the shelf.
Building it in value, I'd imagine.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
probably
Oh, that
collector's
thing's
item.
really people are really talking about it now.
We should get that graded.
Yeah, we definitely should.
No, it was our it's CGC the perfect time.
Well,
It was
I don't know. I feel
10.0.
like people would want to you want to be able to touch it though. Behind
have to
plastic,
be
it's
able
not
to
as
touch
special.
No, because we had it graded, but we told them specifically not to put it in a case.
Right. It's been handled carefully ever
Yeah,
since.
people might want to use it again.
Yeah, exactly. So that will be available. It'll be on the table with us. The plate that everyone's talking about.
The second annual appearance.
Second annual appearance. Yeah, it was there last year. You're hearing about it now. People are talking about it.
Tickets are only $5.
It was actually minted at the last PRGC.
It was created there.
Yeah,
But
it
I
absolutely
believe it was.
was.
I ate pizza off of it initially.
There's an issue here because if you guys are raffling this, then you can't do this 3 years in a row.
Well-
and it sounds like this is going to be around for year 3, so I think that we need to turn this into kind of a museum spectacle
Well, yeah.
where people can come like a mecca and they can come
View it.
and view it, or like the Blarney Stone, where people can
Almost
touch
like
it.
seeing the Virgin Mary in a piece of toast.
Exactly. Yeah.
Get a picture with it.
I'm down with that.
You can get a picture of you holding it with us around you. Yeah, it's
That's-
Yeah,
it's
like a
pretty-
grilled
You
cheese
make a
with Billy
valid
D.
point.
Williams' face on it.
Yeah.
So just for the people that don't understand what this piece of art is, last year we did a coalition of podcast with Sykes for Start the Beats, and we did it at Retro Gaming Con, and we didn't have any signs up yet.
No,
But
where
we
where
were.
was the sign? We know where the sign is. Well, we kind of know where the sign is.
No,
now.
we kind of know where it is, but we weren't there yet, and it was just I think Dan. No, it was Jared. Yeah, me, you, and Brian. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were setting up, and people were coming over to our barren table, and we had nothing.
Because you
And
were
I-
late.
I was sitting there. No, we actually. Well,
No, we weren't late. I don't think.
Daniel was late.
Well, that's
he's
I just
always
got back from Cuba.
and he was drunk.
I wonder why you got. I can only imagine why you got held up in customs.
Yeah, I was drunk still. I was trying to
was
make it out.
drunk?
I almost didn't make it out of there alive. They were hitting me with laser beams.
He was
Stuff that
beating
made
up
me
kids.
nauseous and confused. It was terrible.
They attacked me with laser beams. And I still made it.
They say that Cuba's safe to go back to. It ain't safe though.
No, it's never safe. The only
They
place
got them-
that's safe in this world is Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Con. It's coming up here soon. If you want to be safe, that's where you'll be.
Yeah,
Get your ass over there.
www.pittsburghretrogaming.com.
Yeah, check it out. Get
That's
your
a safe
tickets early.
space.
It's the only safe space left. If you want to get hit with lasers, go somewhere else that day.
Unless you're around.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, if I'm around, guard your ears.
Don't bring your kids if Dan's going to be around.
Right, there may be Cuban torpedoes involved.
Yeah.
I mean, they were delicious.
they were delicious.
They were delicious.
That sounds like it could be a dick innuendo. So
Yeah,
we
it
gotta
definitely
be, we gotta
does,
Be
yeah.
careful.
Are we circling
I
back?
was sucking on a few Cuban torpedoes, if you know
Are
what
we
I
circling back to Parodius on Super Famicom?
It sounds like a man who that's his nickname for himself.
Hello, I'm
Prepare for
Parodius,
my torpedo.
and prepare for my Cuban torpedo.
What
and
was
what I mean by that is a big girthy dick.
And what I mean by big girthy dick is average size, mostly erect penis.
I'm going to ask Chris what that accent was right now.
That was Matthew McConaughey playing a Cuban in a racist late 90s movie.
All right.
That man who described that was absolutely correct.
No, Brian, it's C.
No, it's I'll see. Anyways,
What the fuck? That was...
so Brian had a whole bunch of shit that showed Start the Beats, and everybody knew all about that shit, and people kept asking me what we were there, and I said, "Oh yeah, we're the Grown-Up Human Comic people," and they just kind of looked at me and said, "Okay, you're just staring." They were just staring at a barren table. We didn't have microphones set up, and
We
I was
came
like,
here to buy shit.
I was like, "No, we're a podcast," and they're like, and they just left.
You were the nerdiest of the nerdy at that moment.
Pretty much.
You understand that you were the king of the fucking mountain. Because even the nerds didn't understand
Pretty much.
the apex of nerdism that was about to occur at that moment. They were about to be subjected to a conversation of things involving paper and ink. And that they had no understanding of it because everything else was zeros and ones to them.
It's weird. Like you guys probably encounter this sometimes too. It's like if you're really super nerdy about something, it can be really annoying because other people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm nerdy," and you're like, "Oh cool, let's talk about this thing," and then you're like, "Actually, you don't know shit about that thing."
You're not nerdy like I'm nerdy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. I think that I've encountered that a lot, especially like with comics or certain things.
That's having a conversation with me
Yeah.
every day of my life.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Being an Uber nerd's like getting a PhD.
Yeah.
It becomes so like specialized that you're down to like fucking thinking about the minutia.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, man. I don't.
Well, I'm not saying that it's like being like having your nose in the air or anything, but it's like whenever somebody says like, "Oh yeah, no, I really like that thing that you're talking about," and you're like, "Oh cool, I'm getting excited about talking to you about it," and then you start talking to them about it, and you're like, you realize in your head like, "Oh, this is you are full of shit." Like this is
But
not.
that's annoying because I feel like if you are into something and I feel like it's when you've come up against or you're interacting with like the Uber nerd.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you just have to concede, like, I really enjoy this thing, but I'm clearly not really into this.
I'm
thing.
outclassed right now.
Like
we run into it all the time. Like, I mean, I'm sure
sure
you guys run into it with comics.
Yeah.
We run into it with video games all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like it's not something we ever considered. You know,
But I'm still the first one. Like Brian will school me on a lot of shit. I have no fucking clue.
well,
what the fuck
but
it
then
is.
somebody will come along, and there's a dude who goes by CKZ in our group, and I love this dude to death.
Yeah.
He is the
Understand he's
epitome-
probably going to listen to this.
Yeah, he might, and that's why. Yeah, like I love him to death because he stands for everything that we started this for without even realizing it. You know, we created this space for people like him to nerdgasm out to, and you know, you'll meet him for a simple like, hey man, I want to buy that Dreamcast controller over you. And he will proceed to educate you on the minutia of Castlevania for the next 45 minutes,
Yeah.
whether you want to or not.
Right.
You know, and those are the people that show up at our convention.
Yeah.
Those are the people who show up at Comic-Cons. And you're like, wow, I am so out of my depth right now. And I feel almost embarrassed to admit it
Yeah.
because I run this thing that is so much bigger than what we intended it to be. But now we're all here and you're in this space and you paid to be here and you want to have this deep, meaningful conversation. And I fucking cannot keep up with you. There's no way. Like, I just don't have enough understanding of that because I haven't spent that much time
Right.
in that media to understand it. But I love the fact that you have.
It's probably like whenever if you end up getting a starring role in like a superhero thing,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, I better know every single thing about
Right.
this because every time I meet somebody, they're gonna be like, hey, you're Captain America. Let's talk about Captain America. And then you're like, I'm not Captain America though.
Oh,
I think
shit.
that's part of it, right? Like the person who can play Captain America or the people that can organize giant events, they have a number of talents
Exactly.
and an interest that is deep in one area, but because they're also interested in bringing people together, like you guys, your personality just isn't such that you invest 100% into this super narrow focused area. You've invested a lot into this niche area, but you also are like, okay, well, I'm going to spend some of my life hours bringing people together.
Yeah, you absolutely have to. In order to build something like what we've kind of accidentally built, you know, you have to be multifaceted. You know, if it was like Colt and I we have a lot of intersecting points where we see eye to eye and where we agree and where we love things. But then, you know, he's got his whole music thing going on,
Right.
And like that diversity is what allows you to build a multifaceted event where you have 3 bands coming to perform for people, and where you have, you know, we have people on our staff now who are so into the competitive gaming scene that we just basically say, hey, look, we want to have video game contests. We can't do it as well as you guys do. Take this and run with it and make something of it. And they come back to us like, we want to do this video game contest and this game contest and that game contest. And we're like, you know what? I completely trust you in it because there's no way in my lifetime that I could get to understand that as much as you do. But I
Right.
love that you do, you know? And like, I think that's kind of what has led us to this point. You have to be sort of open to these people who understand something on such an intimate level,
Right.
and bring them into it.
And I don't think you can't be the people that you guys are and also be like the creme de la creme of nerds for anything specific, because a node you have to be able to relate to a bunch of people. So you relate to those people who are super competitive, you know, whatever, gaming guys, and you appeal to the people who are into other shit. You appeal to people from a bunch of different areas because your interests lie in a bunch of different areas. And so people can come to you and you can relate to all of them, and then you create this community where if you were just that dude who can talk about Castlevania for an entire weekend,
People would have bailed a
Like-
long time ago.
yeah, like you wouldn't have the same guys who are like, you know what? I'm in this fucking sweet metal band, and like I dig video games and old video games, and I'd love to. You'd be like, but on level 12 of Castlevania, they'd be like, I'm sorry, man, I can't. Like I don't know, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it because, like, this is the first time we've opened up for panels, and part of it, like, we've asked for volunteers to work the event, and along with that, we said, hey, we're not just looking for volunteers to help with the heavy lifting. Obviously, we need people for that to help with the heavy lifting, but we also need people who are creative. And if you have something that you think it would be valuable to the growth of this community, and it could be part of a panel discussion, let us know. And we've already had people come to us like, I want to volunteer your event and I want to run a panel. And I'm excited to hear what their ideas are because they might have thought of something so far outside of the box from what we have thought of that it will be really interesting to people. And it's because they are so deeply invested in a certain aspect of this community, of this hobby, that we would have never thought of it in a million years.
Yeah. It's
yeah.
like a broad appeal in a relatively niche market.
Yeah.
And there's so, like, you can get it.
Listen
more
to
and
you
more
being all
niche.
serious and not talking about butts and dicks for a second.
It's called being multifaceted. He's multifaceted.
Wait, we're not talking about butts and dicks now?
We need to play more
I thought we were
parodious.
talking about dicks.
We're talking about a bunch of different kinds of dicks, different kinds of butts.
Yeah, not every dick is going to fit in every butt. That's what I'm saying.
To reel it back in, the reason for the plate.
Oh, the plate, right.
Right, the plate.
Believe it or not, we're still talking about that.
That was 20 minutes ago. We
It
started
was.
that.
I know. And I feel that the audience needs a resolution. So I was standing there with Brian. Everybody was going up for Start the Beats and Sykes, and they were like, oh, yeah. And, I had nothing.
Start the beat for the record, just so Brian doesn't listen to this. He's like, get the fucking name right. Chris, as we know, ruins the name of every single thing in the whole world.
Yeah, and his name is Sikhs, okay? It's a religious choice.
S-I-K-H.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, I didn't know what to do because people kept asking me shit, and I was like, yeah, we're the grown-up humans. And then I got a confused look, and they walked away, and so we had a couple of pizza plates with, like, sauce on them, and I just took one, and I didn't have enough room to write grown-up human comic people, so I put GHCP. So the same amount of people came up to me and asked, what is this? And I just held up the plate. And they just looked at me and walked away because that's not an answer. Because nobody knows our initials and nobody knows who we are.
Well,
And
then we figured that we might as well do something with this plate, which now looks amazing. There is a little food on it, yeah.
there's a little food on it, not glitter.
But
It
we all
looks bad.
We all also signed it, so it's signed by all of us, and it was eaten off of by one of us. I'm not.
It looks incredible, too.
It looks great.
It's
yeah.
It's a really nice plate.
Yeah, everyone's talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worth less money than your like if you just had money.
It's definitely worth less than the admission to the con.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'll give you that.
Okay, first of all, I don't know. It's worth whatever someone's willing to pay for it. That's how much it's worth. That's how much anything's worth.
It instantly
So-
depreciates your value.
First of all, this plate has now been talked about on multiple different podcasts. It's been to multiple different events. So this plate is worth whatever someone's willing to pay for.
It's
This is a very
actually
special plate.
important that there is a PRGC 2019, 2020, 2021, because with each one that comes after it, that plate will
Right.
appreciate in value.
That's what
Exactly.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You can't sell or raffle or give this plate away.
Well, what I'm saying is that if someone's listening to this and they want that plate, this is probably going to be your last chance because, someone else is probably going to steal that plate from you.
Yeah.
Or,
this
they're
is
gonna
the new
snag it.
Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Where
this
you
plate
guys
is
are
not
laughing hearing about this plate. This plate's going to be worth $1 million.
We
in
should
like
make it.
18 years.
We should make it an admission-based giveaway.
Okay.
For PRGC 2019.
Yeah.
You'll get it 2 years in a row, and then at 2019 they can go home with this plate. You could have a nice boxed NES console, or Super Nintendo console, or maybe even a GameCube.
Yeah, this year
Or you could have this plate covered in pizza sauce.
The plate that everyone's talking about.
Yeah. You could
Everyone's talking
buy it
about
this year. Maybe we'd let it go for $1,000.
Yeah.
Or maybe we'd let it go for more than that. But at PRGC 2019, if we raffle it, you're going to have like a 1 in a million chance of getting it.
Yeah.
So Literally,
Yeah.
because there'll probably be at least 1 million people.
At least know people
Hey.
talking about it.
Yeah.
If we got 1
They'll all
million
buy a
people, I would suck your dick.
You heard it here first.
You heard it.
You heard
All
it here
right,
first.
let's do this. Come
That's
on.
not going to happen. So
The Pittsburgh Greater Metropolitan Area. Let's
Yeah,
get my
write
dick
that down.
sucked
Yeah, I'm writing it down. Billion people.
by this handsome man.
So
to
if
my
you want to
right.
make if you want to make a liar out of me,
No, I'm just putting hashtag million people dick suck.
if you want to make a liar out of me, check us out on
let's do
Facebook, Pittsburgh Retro Gaming, Pittsburgh Retro Gaming
We're holding them
Group,
to it.
or Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Con. Tickets are what we're going to put them on sale on Tuesday, which is going to be
Somewhere around there.
February the 6th.
I
February
will.
the
I will
6th,
personally
2018.
subsidize the first 1 million tickets.
Well, those tickets just became $100 a piece. So bring it on.
I want to keep asking Brian to say the names of the things that we're talking about, just as his condition worsens. What are we benefiting again?
Excellent.
Children's Miracle Network.
Wow, that was good.
Wow.
That was perfect. Actually.
Yeah.
Good job. Yeah.
So
All proceeds benefit Children's Miracle Network.
Nice.
can you, if somebody blows Dan, can you just get a ticket? Is that
You know what? Yeah, and the less teeth, the better.
Holy shit!
The fewer teeth, the better.
PRGC.
Yeah.
No, no. What if I want to hang out
And,
with them
and
afterwards?
half teeth count for double.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, that's fine, but can I get a definition on a half tooth?
Any tooth less than a hole. It doesn't
entirely
matter
fair.
quite how jagged.
A full set of half teeth.
So a half set of teeth.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know math, and I don't. That just sounds like it's not in your favor.
A half set of teeth could be anything. It could be just the top, just
Right.
the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't need to know math to know blood. That's
All
what
I
we
can
want.
say is this.
Oh,
All I
man.
can say is this segment has been brought to you by Isley's Chip Chopped Ham.
Oh, Jesus Christ. God damn. Okay.
We took a turn for the worst
Yeah.
this episode.
Well,
Let's
when-
talk about Heavenly Blues.
Yeah.
My,
Okay. So
My wiener's not
Heavenly
going to
Blues.
function properly. For
let's
months.
let's do this one first, just because it's a little darker and it's a little it's a little more serious, and then we can go Heavenly Blues. How about that?
Yeah, and it's very simple. Yes, we'll get
It's just
through it.
fairly simple. Yeah.
I brought notes again, guys.
Okay. Good.
Brought notes.
I mean, okay. So we can. We also just got pizza delivered, so we could take a short break, so it doesn't get super cold by the time we're done, and then we get to come back and talk about the books.
You guys won't notice it.
Yeah. The people listening won't notice, but it's
We'll be well fed.
maybe we can get the sound effect pizza time from the Turtles Turtles in Time.
Yeah, sure.
Put that in there. Yeah, I'll just write that down. All right, so it's pizza time. Welcome back. I should say welcome back. We are back, but for you that was just a small intermission. Hopefully there was a pizza time sound effect. Now we're all back to fight and shape. We've got Sisters of Sorrow. Does anybody want to volunteer to kind of take the reins on this one? Anybody?
I barely glanced over it.
Okay, that's fine.
And I'm just a guest.
All right. Okay, here we go. So this is Sisters of Sorrow. Kurt Sutter is the creator of this, apparently, who is known for The Shield
and Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. Yeah.
We've talked about him many a time on here.
Yeah.
Actually, many a time we've talked about it a few times.
Probably at least once before. But, didn't he do another? There was
He
another
did.
book
He
that
did
we-
another book.
I
This is
forget
his
what book it
third
was.
one, actually.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that we talked about. Didn't we talk about another one of his books on here before?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
No, this is his third IP.
Okay. Well, anyway,
for the comic books.
So this is written by Kurt Sutter and Courtney Alameda, illustrated by Hyunjin Kim. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. And then Jean-Paul Suka is the colorist and lettered by Jim Campbell. It is a Boom Studios book, and was run through it real fast. So this book is pretty much about women who were in a women's shelter for various reasons, and one of them gets assaulted. I guess her man finds her in the shelter, and she gets assaulted, and he actually ends up killing her. But some of the other women in the shelter kill him, and then they call this brother Eli person, who I'm not sure which one of them knows.
Is that like a Quentin Tarantino thing? Like what do you call that guy?
The wolf?
Yeah.
Yeah. When you need something cleaned up, it's a cleaner. Yeah. So this guy's like a cleaner, and he for some reason knows a bunch about weapons and murdering people and shit. And it looks like he has like a team of dudes who are like do this all the time. I don't know if anybody else knows a cleaner, but I personally don't know any cleaners. The closest.
I think if anyone did know a cleaner, they wouldn't say it on this podcast.
That's probably true. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I got a guy who cleaned up dead bodies and
if they say
teach
that-
how to murder people.
412-666.
Yeah.
Completely defeat the purpose of a cleaner.
For all of our listeners out there, that means that Dan knows a cleaner.
No,
That's what that means.
anybody who says they know a cleaner definitely doesn't know a cleaner.
No, that's why Dan was covering it up. Nobody who knows a cleaner.
Dan did spend time in Thailand.
Oh,
So
I'd be
maybe
willing to.
Dan is the cleaner.
That's a possibility. But what's an even more distinct possibility is that I've hung out with cleaners.
That's fair. Yeah, that's
I'll
probably
give you
probably
that.
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did. Unbeknownst to me.
Yeah.
And if it isn't,
We've probably all hung out with a cleaner and not known about it.
Probably, yeah.
They're abundant.
are they? Are they? I feel like,
No, what? No, there aren't just people that kill people out there.
1 out of every 10 people is a cleaner, actually.
10% of the population.
That's a stat. I've heard that stat before. So it's just something else. Basically, this dude,
One of us
shows
might
up.
be.
This dude shows up, and he just he pretty much takes them all under his wing, and he trains them to murder people who deserve it. It's like a Boondock Saints, yeah, kind of thing. I don't know. I thought it was all right. They went a little deeper into some of the backstories of some of the women, and you do feel like it. You get that feeling where you have justifiable violence. This is like it's an exercise in kind of non-violence with no guilt and no. You don't have to ask a lot of questions about it. It's like, is this right what we're doing? Yeah, it is, because these guys are shitty. Like,
He's a fucking pedophile.
exactly, yeah. Like, just fucking murder him. It doesn't matter. Let's see a bunch of blood and guts. Like, that's pretty much the.
and it kind of takes on that John Wayne old timey western, like,
Yeah.
oh, we can kill them because they're savages.
Yeah.
We can kill them, and it's like, it doesn't necessarily. The thing I didn't like about it was it was just kind of violent. It was violent.
Moral ambiguity.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Just
was-
because they did something shitty to you,
Yeah.
or you believe they did something shitty to you, doesn't automatically imbue you with the justification of doing something shitty to them.
Sure.
Right.
On very loose grounds.
Sure.
Yeah.
And what does if you decide that you're justified in doing that, like what kind of person does that make you? It's like even if someone decides to do something really shitty to you, does it make you a better person to be strong enough to be like, you know what, whatever, fine. Like that. I feel like that's because a lot of times if I'm in a situation where someone's doing something shitty, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be better than that. I'm just gonna fucking ignore that shit. That's fine. Go ahead and do you, man. Like that's fine. And it's I don't feel like a coward. I
I'm
feel
not
like
going to punch you in the fucking face right now.
Exactly. Like I'm not gonna. I could easily punch you in the face right now, but I'm not going to because like I'm gonna feel better about myself by not doing that.
Yeah, because I mean, like the thrust of a lot of heroes in these different books is not necessarily doing something because it makes them feel better or
Right.
makes them feel justified or vindicated in what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the betterment of the society.
Sure.
Whereas this is all about you did something shitty to me, whether it's accurate or not. I believe you did something shitty to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do something shitty to you.
Yeah.
And then once I've done it, I'm going to find the next person who did something shitty to somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'm going to exact my revenge upon you.
Right.
And it has nothing to do with maintaining that balance or that status quo
Right.
of what is good for society. It's
Right.
all about what makes that person feel good at that moment.
Exactly. Yeah. And actually, if we can compare it to the book we talked about on the previous podcast about blind justice, I feel like that did this like a similar thing, but in a more enjoyable way. Just because that book is so ridiculous that you're not even thinking like, oh, should this guy be doing this? It's like, no, that's not even close to like not that question isn't even in the realm. It's like this is ridiculous, and that's whatever he's doing is fine. I don't care.
right, and he's clobbering people.
He's knocking down buildings with one shot.
I'm clobbering you. Hey, I got 5 in the mush for you. Come on over. And it's not that. I feel like this book is
It's
playing.
more-
It's playing to a very broad feeling that I think everybody gets at some point where somebody does something shitty to me. You know what I want to do? I want to fucking tell them this.
It's that
do
sentiment
that.
of
and,
two wrongs make a right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not it at all. It's like, with the book you were mentioning before that we talked about before, where it's so over the top you're not even thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's like play Final Fight.
Right.
You think about critically some of the encounters they engage in. There's a scene in Final Fight in the second stage where they're walking up on, you're walking up on characters, and they're literally just there throwing dice.
Yeah, they're
But
standing
all of a
there.
sudden, next thing you know is fucking Guy or Cody or
Hagar.
Yeah, Hagar is pounding the pus out of them.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. They
Yeah.
didn't attack them. They didn't do shit.
Guilty by association.
Yeah, it's like even those guys are in Mad Gear. Like that's not they didn't kidnap your girlfriend directly. Those guys are just in the same gang. Like they might be cool.
That's
Like,
just
I don't know.
war in general.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And this book like almost applies to the same philosophy. Is well, they're bad guys. I know they're bad guys,
Yeah.
so I'm going to do bad things to them. And because they're bad guys, it's okay.
Well, it's
And-
addressing the same thing in a more realistic way without asking more realistic questions.
right.
And I feel like that's the problem. I mean, maybe not the problem, but that's the difference. And like, I don't necessarily like that as much as I like the previous thing because it's like this is if you're going to do it more realistically, let's have one of the characters be like, guys, we shouldn't be doing this at all.
Right.
This is insane. You're all insane. I'm going now. If you have a character like that, then that person like it's like okay, well now do we have to kill this person because they're going to tell on us? Like we can't. They're not a murderer, but they're going to send us all to jail, and we're gonna not be able to do our thing anymore. So like. Well, now what happens? That's to me a more interesting question.
See, excuse me. It's Kurt Sutter, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and his TV shows convey that,
Oh yeah,
but his comics don't.
Right.
And I don't understand what the because we
where the disconnect is.
yeah
Yeah, because he's really good on TV with that kind of shit.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Like because I'm a huge fan of The Shield.
Oh, it's one of the best shows ever.
Yeah, and Sons of Anarchy.
I
I've
never
seen
got
a
into it.
couple. Yeah, I've seen a
I
couple.
loved
episodes.
Sons. I watched the entire
I loved it,
thing.
but I didn't like Jax Taylor's character at all.
Who's he, the handsome guy?
Maybe the disconnect is he's great at allowing other people to convey that ambiguity for him.
Sure.
But when it comes to him putting it all on the page by himself, he doesn't know how to do it.
Well, also Sean Rhino's not involved in this, so like that's another thing.
Well, but this is the second comic that we've commented on that I was like, you know what?
yeah,
I get what you're trying to get for, but it just doesn't sell me.
I don't remember what was the first one. I can't remember.
It was actually the first episode I was on.
okay.
But I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I don't remember what the comic was. Anyway,
See, I guess as we're talking about this, I'm realizing that the two things that I really look for or enjoy about comics are one of two things. Either the first one, like Blind Justice, total entertainment.
Yeah.
Just fun, smash them up, like, justice prevails. The good guy wins, bad guys, get beat up. Or killed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just fun, sort of like silly, almost like Bollywood type shit.
yeah,
Or something that makes you think.
yeah.
Something that really engages you in a way that's like, yeah, that's a conundrum. Where with this, it's like my basic primal instincts are all justified in everything I read.
Yeah.
Somebody does something bad to me, my like just primal animal nature is you hurt me, fuck you, I hurt you.
Yeah.
Like somebody does something wrong, fuck them, I do something bad to them.
Especially if it's like your family, like the chick's daughter was killed. So
Right.
it's not like, oh, you messed with somebody I don't know and you're a terrible person. It's like personal.
Right.
Right, but like
least initially it's personal.
It makes it that much easier.
But it wasn't real. Like the character development was shallow. The plot was shallow. What you have, a guy attacks women in a shelter. They kill him. They continue killing people. And
What can you do in a 25-page comic book initially?
Well,
You could do a lot.
You can do a
more
lot
than
of
that.
things. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I mean, like you can. There's that's not the way to start it out. Like if you want to start working with some nuanced ideas, because what I'm thinking would be cool is if these main characters, they kill this dude, and then something comes up like, oh, you know what? There was, he had a partner, or there was someone else involved.
Or maybe
Did
like
we actually
side to it, yeah.
Something, and you could build up this whole like hyper violent murder this motherfucker, exact revenge, and then the last page, the last handful of panels, be like, but who's John Smith? Who's this other guy that's like, oh, we might have just fucking murked somebody because for no good reason.
Well, it's like the driving point behind the movie Memento.
Right.
It's
Exactly,
like, it's just kill to get to the next kill to get to the next kill to continue that cycle.
You don't realize. He doesn't even realize that he's
He
killed
has
more than one
no
person.
idea.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, I feel like that's the leap this book takes. It's like, okay, well, this dude came in, he broke into a woman's shelter, and he murders somebody in cold blood. And they kill him in self-defense.
Yeah.
And they're immediately concerned with, holy shit, we're going to go down for capital murder because we killed this guy. Nobody's going to believe us because we all come from questionable background.
Yeah.
And the next leap is, well, this guy fucking hit me in a vehicle accident. Take all the other superlatives out of it. He did it on purpose. I'm going to go kill him.
Yeah.
Right.
And they go and they proceed to assassinate this person. And he even at one point says, I didn't do that, or I didn't intend to do that.
Yeah.
And there's no questions asked. Bang, assassinated. And it's like they never give any greater thought to the moment of, well, holy shit, maybe he is a tormented person. Maybe he was involved in this accident. And now, as a result of it, he's got to live with that.
Yeah.
And now you're coming and killing him.
You actually may have done him a mercy because he stayed up he couldn't sleep. He stayed up every night worrying about this. Like about more. If you want to torture him,
Right.
let him fucking go.
But the book doesn't go into any of that. It just makes this giant leap rather than connecting like you said, oh, he has a partner, or there's some deeper syndicate, or there's some deeper evil to this that's connected, and they don't connect the dots. They just make I want this justification, whether it's justified or not.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go and do this completely impulsive thing, and it's okay, and nobody bats an eye at it.
Yeah. It's like comic book pizza.
yeah.
I was gonna say it like, to get deep. It sounds like a lot like society in 2018. You just fucking like, but I didn't do it. Doesn't matter. Boom, dead.
Knee jerk.
Right.
Knee jerk.
Yeah.
Everything's a
Right.
knee jerk.
Well,
Right.
like that's a good point. Like if you were like, say you're on the internet and so one person says like a comment that you think is like really out of line or whatever, and you're just like, "Fuck you," and the person's like, "Dude, no, that's not what I meant." Like I just, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, sorry." But like that never happens. And usually it's like, well, fuck you anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Like, and then people doing just that same reactionary thing, just because like someone that they don't know at all.
You perceive that they're bad,
Right? You
think they're bad.
Yeah, like you've never met this person, you've never even seen them in real life. You just like you heard like one comment that they made, and you're like, "You're evil. Fuck you. I'll kill you." Like that's
I feel like
ridiculous.
2018 needs a new hashtag. Hashtag the delete button exists. Type whatever you feel like, but then delete it.
Right? Delete it at least once. How
Right,
about hashtag
exactly.
delete at least once?
Guys,
Right.
let's sit a mile in these people's pants. Because nobody's walking anymore. We're gonna sit a mile in their pants, an online mile. Actually, you guys all took this way differently than I did for this comic.
Well, please go ahead.
Because I got notes. I have 2 notes, by the way. I'm just gonna read the second note real quick, which was this was a comic book. This might have been the diet celery soda of comic books that I've ever read. Like, there was nothing in there that was any good. Wasn't anything really bad. It was
Right.
this was like a comic book.
The art was fine. Like I thought it
the art
looked
was
cool
fine.
enough. You know.
Would I be wrong in saying it kind of reminded me of like the art of like old like Spawn comics?
Sure. No,
Yeah, which is fine.
Yeah, and like in there,
Sin
it's
City,
not.
it definitely reminded me of Sin City. Like, it was
Little bit.
ultra graphic and violent.
Yeah.
I liked that. Like, that was great. But
Yeah.
there wasn't enough meat.
Yeah, we're not criticizing all of the whole book like negatively. It's more like just the choices made in like the storytelling itself. But like the other aspects, like the art looks pretty cool. I don't know. I think we all
Did we take it way deeper than it should have been? Like,
No, absolutely.
No, because I think that I feel like what we have right now is this super saturation of this kind of shit.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah, for
there's
sure.
there's so much of this shit where it's reinforcing this impulsive sort of immediate gratification behavior. Like, I feel this way, I respond this way. It's justified by my reaction is justified by the action,
Yeah.
right? So I did this in response to that. Boom. Now we're back to homeostasis.
Something as
And-
simple as like every time I hear my phone, just got to look at it
Right.
because I can't wait.
But like, imagine if there was some Mandela, like some Nelson Mandela take on it, where it's like, oh, this motherfucker came in here and killed this person, and it's like, oh, okay, well, and then get into like a character study of what's happening inside of that person, like what happens inside of their head.
I was going to say exactly. It's like we never asked the question like, why was this the first guy? Why was he in there in the first place?
Yeah,
Like he killed this chick. Like he was after her. Like, but why?
How did he figure out where the hell she was?
Yeah, why was she in that home to begin with?
Right. Like, did she
Yeah.
do something to like end up there? And like, I'm not in that.
what did she do to deserve it?
well, that's the thing. Like, it's that's a real fine line.
Be
where
real
where it's like-
careful with your word.
Well, that's what I'm like. Yeah,
Careful.
so that's someone take a pause and be like, and just say like, okay, I'm not saying that she deserved to be murdered in a women's shelter. Obviously, that's no one deserves to be murdered at all. But like,
But typically, women's shelters aren't like super public with where the hell they're located.
oh, absolutely. Well, then that's what I'm saying.
So
like,
it's like, how does this guy know where she is?
what was she involved with? Who is he? Why? How is he able to find her? Like, there's all these questions. And maybe to be fair, like this is only the first issue, and we mostly ever do first issues, and like maybe the rest of it could be better. And then sometimes that does happen, where like we'll tear something apart, and then like one of us will read the next one or whatever, and be like, actually, guys, we got to take another look at this because that was great.
I was gonna say, do you ever go like to just start like on a first issue, and then like in a later podcast when it's like 10 issues in, and
Yeah.
like revisit to like
Yeah,
see where
yeah. We
everything's come?
we won't go super in depth since we already talked about the first one, but we'll be like, actually, you should like maybe recommend. Just like, remember when we talked about that? That actually got a lot cooler. You should check the rest of it out. And there's a couple things that we've done that with. Yeah, so like we're not condemning this on the first issue. That's not fair. But like,
But
Just a
traditionally,
reaction.
there's some indication of the trajectory of that book.
Exactly.
At the end of the first book.
The
and the
thoughtfulness of it,
trajectory
yeah.
Right.
of, like, at the conclusion of this first book is not one in which it's going to be, oh, we're going to look at all of the nuanced aspects of violence.
Right.
Or the different dimensions of violence and violent behavior and all that. It's just
You'd spend all day sitting here.
Yeah.
You'd spend all day.
well,
no, but I mean, if there was something at the end, like we were saying, like the girl saying, like, "Oh my God, that was actually his twin brother," or "Oh my God, he had a partner," or "Oh my God, he wasn't driving the car," or "Oh my God, whatever." Something.
oh my god, my
where-
son's not dead.
Right,
there's
right,
nothing that
exactly, like
creates a
some
conflict.
shit like that, where it's like, or "Oh my God, that was my son."
Right,
Yeah,
right.
like something fucking crazy. It's
We
like
just came up with 5 better ideas.
in 10 seconds after drinking not an insubstantial amount of liquor.
That brings me to my second note of 2 in my notes. This was completely predictable.
Yeah, yeah.
And I bring that up because this was an origin story, and you can't say it's not. This was the origin story of the Sisters of Sorrow, the name of the book.
Yeah.
This is what they've become. They're vigilante chicks. By the way, shout out to my boy Dom Clayton for saying that Sisters of Sorrow is definitely a Metal Gear Solid boss in the future. And he's so right about that. It's not funny. You just hear that and you're like, yeah, that's going to be a Metal Gear Solid boss. Man. But it was so predictable that I saw the name of it, I saw the cover, I opened it up, I read the first page and went, they're all going to be vigilantes that go out and kill dudes who do stuff to women.
Right.
That's going to be the end of this. And it goes along with what you guys were saying earlier, where I think that the better way to do this is to take the Breaking Bad approach of being like, we all knew Walter White was going to become this drug lord kingpin, but we were around for the journey. We saw the pitfalls and we saw the morality that he was kind of, struggling with. And we really could have done that with these characters.
Yeah.
Especially because they alluded to these being 5 different characters, but they weren't. It was one woman.
Yeah.
There was one woman, but there was 5 of them, and one of them was extra angry and one of them was meek. And that was it.
Yeah.
And it was
there was no surprise along the way. It was kind of like, okay, like when I saw the cover, I'm like, this could be interesting.
Yeah.
I was reminded of '90s Image comics
Sure.
with fallen angels. I'm like, oh, vigilante nuns, Catholic school me can get down with this. And and I read it and I was like, this is not what I pictured at all, and this is completely uninspired from what I thought I was going to be engaging in.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like somebody did me wrong, screw him. That's it. There's no moral conflict. There's no interpersonal conflict with other characters. It's literally like, oh, she's the biggest badass of all. She talks tougher than the rest of us. We're going to follow her. Nobody objects. Nobody tries to intercede. And they just go along for the ride, and they just murder somebody who, for all intents and purposes, could very well be just an innocent victim who is in unfortunate circumstances. And there's no discussion of that at all.
Yeah.
And that would be multiple great launching points for a comic to give you directions to go in from there. And it's really like, well, we're just going to kill people we feel bad about.
A comic that would be cool as fuck.
Yeah.
And I feel like putting a black chick in a nun's outfit on the cover is like pandering and
To people who like Sister Act.
to people who like Sister Act and Whoopi Goldberg and enjoy.
people that-
It all just it defends Sister Act.
musicals.
Sister Act was an awesome.
Everyone likes
everybody
Sister Act.
likes Sister
You
Act.
can't say anybody who doesn't like Sister Act is a
At
is
least
a
the
demon.
first one. At
An
least the
actual demon.
first one. The first one was
Okay, the
incredible.
second one's great too. I don't.
I'd watch both.
Oh yeah, I'll watch them both in a row.
I love the first one. I watched the first one.
Dude, Lauren Hill's in the second one. That's
Oh, that's right. She was.
Yeah.
Oh man, she was.
The
so
second one's
hot.
dope, too.
She was so hot.
yeah.
But like, it's something you see it and immediately you wanna buy it for your kids or something. Like, oh, here, look, cool. If you're like a early adolescent child, maybe like here's a strong minority female.
Yeah.
Like,
Can I see that cover? Someone pass that over here because I think I saw a different cover.
This is a cool cover actually.
it's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
when
it
I saw
doesn't-
the cover, I
She's
was
got a
excited
gun
about
on it. I wouldn't have. My grandmother would not ever buy a black nun with a gun.
I
on
would
the
totally
cover.
buy that for my niece, dude. I would buy that for my niece and my nephew. I'd be like, listen, this is probably going to be fucking cool because you like just because you're a woman doesn't mean you have to be defined by like your gender or your.
You don't have to
ethnicity.
be defined by your habits.
Yeah, but there's like Miss Marvel.
You go to hell and you die. You go to hell and you die.
Right, you're grounded.
God damn it.
Honestly, I know that I'm not a regular on here, and I have no room to say this, but can we wrap this up? Because I really want to talk about the next book. Like, this book is
That's
so
fine.
middling. I don't know why we wasted this much time. on
No,
it.
you know,
The next
you're
book
Fair,
is
that's
awesome.
Fair,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Heavenly
All right.
Blues is cooler.
All right, so in that case, John, would you like to? You can get on top of this one if you want. You want to fire it up?
I'll get on top of that.
All right, here you go.
Yeah, you would, you fucking man. Get on top of it, you man. Just get on top of it and finish quick.
That was a Rufio insult.
This is-
You man, you stupid man.
That is the first time someone's ever accused me of being a man in my entire life. All right, so
Jonathan's a Marine. Everybody should know that.
I'm a former United States Marine. No one has ever accused me of being a man. I fixed computers. All right, so I'm getting a phone call. So this is Heavenly Blues from Scout Comics, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's fucking awesome. Like, and I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with me, and I will fight you if you do. All right.
He's a Marine.
So this is Ben Kahn and Bruno Hidalgo. It's got special guest Barbiel Angelis.
Put your mouth closer to the microphone.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
There it is.
All right.
Are these comic books that we're doing? Because I'm obviously a newbie to all this stuff. Are these the people? I mean, obviously Kurt Sutter did one. Some of these, are they like their first time doing comic books? Or is
I'd
this
say
like,
for most of
are
them.
they like veterans, like doing a new story?
It depends on
Mostly
what it is.
runs.
For this one,
Oh, for this one, I don't know. A lot of the names, since we do a lot of indie stuff. Like a lot of the names, I personally wouldn't be familiar with. Like, but then some of them, like we do some, like say, like Jason Aaron is a very famous current comic person, or like, fucking I don't know. Yeah, it depends.
Because I wonder if like you're like, oh well, I fucking expect so much more out of this.
Oh
person.
yeah, sometimes
Like,
yes.
you know,
Sometimes you read something, you're like I know the name. Like sometimes we'll choose something because it's somebody who is like well known for doing comics, and then we'll read it and we're like, what the fuck was that? Or other times you're like, this is going to be awesome because this person's awesome, and it is, and that's it. So like, I don't think I recognize any of these names.
yeah,
though.
sorry to distract. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's all right. So basically this is about what happens after you die, and it follows hell.
Yeah,
And it follows a very unique version of hell, which is a hell where humans basically torture themselves.
yeah,
Which is amazing.
yeah.
So
It's kind of like Earth.
yeah, it's kind of like
Yeah.
Earth. It's like Earth, but you can't die, but you can feel pain.
Yeah,
And you know, we don't have anything that we would
want.
like. Yeah.
we have stuff that we would almost want, but not quite.
Yeah, we like they talked about how there's no such thing as cold beer.
It's all warm.
It's all warm and flat.
Yeah.
I'll finish the story, but there's different things that we can go in with that.
Oh, there's a lot of things that we can go
Yeah.
into, and that's why I wanted to move on to this. I mean, essentially, it follows two people, and you know, it gets to a point where the one guy and girl, they get approached by an angel who wants them to steal something from heaven,
And in return, he will restore them to heaven. Or he
Exactly.
will bring them to heaven instead of hell.
and they kind of decide to launch a crusade against heaven and do this because they're pissed off at heaven because they've been in hell for years.
The one chick's been there for like hundreds. She said hundreds of
And
years.
they do like a
hundreds of
Quentin
years.
Tarantino where they go back and show
Yeah.
why this guy was there.
Right.
Yeah, they show why he's in hell or like how he died.
Yeah. We don't know why she's in hell, but they imply that she's in there for like a really horrible reason. Like she
Yeah,
did something
like-
really fucked up.
Yeah, like the point we're gonna read on in this and be like, like feel bad, and, like go take a shower, like
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah, because she's a kid,
Yeah, she's a kid,
but she's been dead for like hundreds of years.
yeah. It's a great.
He said
dynamic.
where he said talking about the devil, and he goes, "Oh, speak of the devil." Whenever she walks in, you
Yeah.
know, she's like the worst.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Well, and the angel said he says his comments. He's like, "Wow, you must have done something really fucked up to come down here at your age."
Yeah,
He's like, "You must be horrible."
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we should start there with the morality because it plays with morality so well. This issue.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really enjoyed, which is really late in the issue that I wanted to bring up real quick, was we find out, you know, it starts off with a guy getting tortured by these two, and they're just dumping molten gold on his naked body and torturing the piss out of
Like,
him.
oh, I guess he passed out from the pain. Oh, that's a shame. I still wanted to keep going.
Yeah, it's like I guess I gotta go find something else to do.
Yeah, and it's funny. But later on in the comic, and they did this in a way that I really enjoyed instead of it just being like randomly saying stupid things, she actually mentioned that she used to torture the other main character. You know, we have these
Yeah.
two main
Yes.
characters. And, you know, he almost in the same panel says, you know, or she says, you know, I love you.
Yeah.
And after saying, I tortured you for years.
Yeah.
And I think it brings up an interesting morality point of in hell, you kind of have to torture someone in order for them to learn the lay of the land.
Yeah.
So it's like a morality of like, I'm going to torture you so that you understand.
It's like raising kids.
There was a question that
Yeah.
I had, what I was going to bring up earlier. It's like, you say in hell, you can only feel anything, you can't really feel much except for pain, but then she did say she loves him, you
Right.
know? So, like, and she cried at one point. There
Yeah,
was
yeah.
tears
After
crying.
the angel mentioned what she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So it's toughening them up.
Yeah.
So there's like a morality of, and it talks. I mean, it's interesting bringing another one of my notes that I brought. I'm very proud of these notes. I noted like there's demons in this comic. You guys might not have noticed them. They're in one panel. I went back and looked. There's one panel showing demons. They're in a horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
they're just laughing and they're cuddling like two lovers. And I realized like I don't know if this is going to happen. Maybe this is the idea I had of like what I got from it, but it's almost as if it's a class system and demons are so far above like these tortured human souls that they don't need to torture them. And humans are torturing each other because this is hell and pain and you need to learn.
Right.
And
it's
that's really
entertainment for
what-
them.
Right.
yeah, it's entertainment. Like that's it. And demons are so far above that, you know, it's this interesting class dynamic.
And maybe like we don't know yet, but maybe in the future, like maybe you find out that like the demons like subsidize torture to like they're just like, well, or they delegate down.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe.
you know what? In exchange for me not torturing you with like this really horrible torture, you just have to torture these 4 people for me, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, or whatever. I don't know. Like you could go on and like speculating what the system is.
We don't know. Yeah, we don't know yet. But I thought it was interesting. We didn't see any demons.
Well, they do a good job of implying that something is going on, and like that's a big idea that you could expand upon a lot. But just with that like one frame that you're like, oh, huh, and you could sit and think about one frame for like, couple hours if you wanted to. Well, like as opposed to any of the frames in the previous book we talked about. It's like when you do something well, and I was going to say this for the last book, we only do one issue usually, and it's usually the first issue, and in some cases it's maybe not fair entirely to how we judge it, but also in other cases like, well, some other people in like one issue can make me go like, I'm reading the rest of this shit, and then if you don't do that, that's on you. Like that's not my fault as a reader. I'm not giving you a chance. Like I bought your book. Like your first issue needs to fucking grab me and bring me in, and if it doesn't, that's your fault.
Yeah, that's your responsibility with an issue 1 of a comic book.
Right. So it's like if we tear something apart or like don't like it that much, it's like that's not our fault. Like I mean, maybe in some cases we might just be like not in a bad mood, but for the most part we try to be pretty fair and like really read everything and give it a shot. And like this does a much better job of grabbing you than the previous one.
But I feel like personally this book, Heavenly Blues, is like an allegory for life. Mm-hmm. It's when they're talking about the one part that I that was like, okay, this book is fucking cool, is when they meet with the angel in the pool hall, and they say, oh, we won't be bothered here, and it's that what the dude ends up saying is this guy was a pool shark who fucking got killed, and then in hell built this pool hall thinking it would give him meaning, but what do you think happens to like a cheater in hell? He gets cheated, and he never won a game, so now he's addicted to he's addicted to voyeur, right? Which voyeurism, just like we get addicted to, we are as maybe a world community addicted to fucking social media.
Yeah.
Just this voyeurism, like, oh, I had a thing that meant a lot to me. I didn't invest in it. I didn't do whatever. Now I just sit around and fucking watch other people's lives.
This already sounds. I didn't get to read this book. I got to
Goddamn
look through.
shame right there.
Absolutely. And just hearing you describe it, I feel like I wasted my time on the last book because it was so vapid.
Yeah.
There was nothing to it. And this one, it gives you something to chew on.
For sure.
And
There's so much
deals
to
with
chew on.
all the moral conundrums that the other book should have spent time on.
Yeah.
And then this book actually does.
Absolutely.
Hell is more than just, oh, you're going to suffer here. It's no, you're going to explore the reasons of why you're suffering here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And what is suffering?
Right.
Like in some cases, it's like like anything can be suffering or not, depending on how you think about it. So like honestly, from our perspective, like we're not in this hell, but like you could probably be there for like a couple days if you weren't being directly tortured, like the guy being the gold poured on him. You might be like, well, this place like sucks, but I don't know if it's hell. It's just like a shitty town, I guess. But from if you're just walking through, passing through, you'd be like, oh, okay, this seems fine to me.
You mentioned shitty town. I wanted to bring that up because they do a good job of alluding to the fact that all of the towns and everything are not demon made but human made, and that there's an actual human progress. Like we talked about the beer earlier and how it's all like warm and flat.
Yeah.
And there are these rumors that the ancient Egyptians have cold beer now.
I didn't think of that way, but you're right. Yeah, maybe because they've been there for longer, so they had more time to develop their technology.
Exactly. So it's
Right.
almost like in the afterlife, they're doing what we did on Earth already, except it's way shittier and slower and more difficult. And like you go with knowledge, because they all have their knowledge of their lives. So there are people, there's engineers and doctors and all these shit. But
Right.
They don't have any resources. So
and also
like,
implies that they have their own little section. So like when that race of people were dying off, they all kind of built their own thing. And then like when the say, ancient Greeks started dying, they probably were like, who the fuck are these guys? Now I'm building a town over here.
yeah, exactly. And there's definitely different sects because I feel like this is supposed to be Americans.
Well, yeah, this is like because I'm assuming it kind of looks like an early, I don't know, maybe like turn of the century, like like before the 50s, like
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
it's like the 20th century, but before the 50s. So like you've got because one guy was a bank robber in like the 20s or during I don't know. I'm assuming from 20s to 40s. 'cause it looked
34.
Like
Yeah,
34.
they actually give us the date.
Okay, so the 30s, yeah,
In
And-
Chicago.
right? Yeah. And I don't know. Maybe the other chick is from a different place than him because she said that she was there for hundreds of years.
I feel like, yeah, but she could have been there.
Maybe
for,
she's from like a witch or something from the
Yeah, I'm thinking like
colonial times or something.
maybe she was a witch, or I've got theories that I don't want to say because they're so horrible. I don't want to like. I'm not putting that on.
You
this.
know what podcast you're on, right?
Yeah, no, I don't even want to say them out loud. And it's terrible. And not gonna add anything to the podcast. So I'm not gonna like if it added anything, I'd say it, but it won't.
The listeners are going to be real upset that you don't say your things.
Think the worst thing that you can think of that involves a young girl. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm
There,
thinking
I
she
put
was
it in
probably
your
raped
head.
and cut someone's dick off. How about that?
I don't
Or
think she
maybe he was
cut
about to rape
someone's-
her and then he cut her dick.
Yeah, I think that molestation or rape was involved.
Yeah, but why would she go to hell for being molested?
Oh, because she very clearly was molested by some sort of clergy person.
That doesn't mean you go to hell for getting.
No,
Yeah,
but then
we think
with
exactly
the
the
retribution means you go to hell.
The what?
Retribution.
I don't know. I mean,
That's what I'm thinking. Where it's something.
I'm
where-
hoping she was like some badass, like Pharaoh bitch, like
Yeah,
up
she
there
set
just
people
fucking
on
murking
fire.
like tens of thousands of people, just being like, kill them all.
no. She says in the book. She says whatever she did so she could survive.
Yeah, like I know you want her to be that way, but there's no way.
But and survival could be in a lot of different things.
That's true.
It could be I want to survive literally, or I want to survive in my position.
Right.
And it could
Yeah.
be I want to preserve my position. It could be as simple as King Herod killing all the firstborn born males.
Sure.
I killed
pharaohs
them
were
off
young.
so I could maintain my position.
Right.
Maybe
Well, she's-
it was something similar to that.
It could be. She was probably a prostitute. Let's be honest. That's really the easiest. She was a child prostitute, but that's what I was thinking. That's what I didn't want to add. But
Oh no, that's
Like,
that's the sort of thing we go
The
for.
thought of sending a child prostitute to hell is of
exactly.
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's
almost
the
feel
thing.
like that's a victim of victims right
Well, yeah,
there.
it is a victim of victims. But that angel, they make you hate this guy.
Yeah.
And he's an angel,
Right.
So we've definitely gotten to the fact that there's some classism here. There's some
Yeah.
inherently this is evil no matter what. This is good no matter what.
Right. So it's like maybe if she was say like a child prostitute or something, and then like whatever she like maybe she was like one of the Sisters of Sorrow and like murdered somebody because of like a quote unquote justifiable reason, but the angels are like, hey, did you kill somebody? Yeah, you're going to hell. Sorry, doesn't matter why.
Or it could be the other. It could be something along the lines. Maybe she was a child prostitute, and instead of stopping the cycle, she became the mistress.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
And then she's like,
Yeah.
you know what? I went through this. It's good enough for you too.
Sure.
And she continues the cycle.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah.
I just
She would feel.
I've
really
only
guilty
read
about that,
one
though.
issue of this book, but I feel like they're going to gut punch us.
Yeah.
I feel like we're getting gut punched. So I feel like while that's just like that's a great idea. I don't feel like they're going to go that route because then you're going to be like, oh, okay, I get that. I feel like with her, we're going to get that like she wasn't wrong in any way. Like we're going to feel for her, and then it's going to feel terrible.
Or maybe she was really wrong.
Yeah,
and,
I was
like,
gonna say I don't think you can send someone to hell for being especially at that age, a product of their environment.
Yeah.
So like she had to
made a choice.
made a choice.
Right.
Yeah.
I think hell knows what wrong is, and heaven knows what right is.
Or maybe they conversely maybe they don't, and maybe
True.
they're like, dude, fuck you, angel. Like you could have not sent her to hell. Like that was totally justifiable. You said like no, sorry, laws of law, whatever. Like that. Maybe that could be the other reason why they don't like the man or the authority.
I feel like they're gonna paint the nobody in hell cares or is even around. It's a vacancy, and heaven's just by the books, one toe over the line and you're gone, sort of a deal.
Right.
I don't know. I feel what we do know without conjecture
Yeah, we
is
don't.
that someone was sentenced to hell for squandering their life, and that's a cool idea.
Yeah.
Like
the first
this,
guy.
That is cool.
The opening, like several pages, are this dude who's just working like an office job. He's just
Yeah.
fucking whatever in a cubicle, and he's fat and whatever. He gets
Yeah, but he could have been jerking off to kid porn too, and you don't
No,
know.
they
I mean, but
specifically
that's like
say
that's conjecture, right? And so, he could have been, but what they say, and I was I was trying to find the quote here, and what he said, he was like, I don't deserve this. He's like, and that's what he said, I don't deserve this. And the girl said, you think this is about retribution? Like for something you fucking did wrong, like for jerking off to child porn or, killing somebody or raping someone. She's like, this is for having life and squandering it, you miserable shit. So like the worst, what that conveys to me anyway, is that the worst offense is not murder or rape or violence or some sort of like terrible act against another living being. It's for having had a life and doing nothing with it, squandering your entire fucking life, which then kind of goes on into that idea of the pool shark with the pool hall and him having, I failed, so what do I do? Well, I'm just going to fucking watch other people.
Yeah.
This first book suggests to us that the worst version of hell is reserved for people who have squandered their lives.
Yeah.
And done nothing with it.
Yeah.
So.
And do any of... So we don't really meet anyone who's in authority here.
No.
At all. Well, like, except for maybe the angel, sort of. But, like, it implies that he's not really in charge of anything because he's like, hey, you guys want to do a little job for me? Like...
Yeah, he snuck.
Right, he's sneaking. Yeah. So, like, we haven't met anybody who's actually in charge. So, like, do we even necessarily know that... Like, does the angel say that specifically this is hell? Because, like...
Yeah, I do believe they specifically say it's hell.
Yeah.
Does the angel say that?
I don't know if the
Because
angel
he's the only
says
person
it's
who's, like, part of the system, right? Everyone else is just there. So, like, they're just all kind of, like... Until we meet somebody who, like... Does the angel say?
They talked about purgatory at one point in time, too.
Exactly. I was thinking, like, is this purgatory, maybe,
That's
instead
where
of
I
hell?
thought
No, they actually mentioned that purgatory is a jail for people that go against the system, heaven or hell.
Oh, really?
And that they are in, I think what, it's not hell, but it's, what is it, perdition
Right.
is how they refer to this realm.
It's my new band name, Perdition.
New band name, I call it.
So there's definitely already somewhere 1,000 bands called that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't know. But
Honestly, we could talk about morality all day. We should rein it back to the comic book.
yeah. I just real fast, the art I thought was really cool. It reminds me of almost like some like Cartoon Network shows a little bit, like some Tartakovsky, like Samurai Jack kind of
See
shit.
that?
Yeah, I can see that.
And I thought it was really cool. I did not, unlike some other books, I didn't feel like there were a lot of frames that were like embarrassing. It's all good. Like this is all really good, solid art.
Not
it makes
like
me
that Blind Justice.
Not like Blind Justice.
Jesus Christ.
But some of that in there was awesome. Though,
Yeah.
the range of good and bad from that was very very wide.
Blind Justice was just someone threw 8 comic books in a blender and poured it out onto a page.
Into a
Pulpy page.
pulpy,
Pulpy
awesome
page.
Sunday milkshake. But yeah, I think it looks cool. Why don't we go around the table and say yes or no? Would you read more of these, Chris?
I enjoyed this one.
Yeah, cool.
I have 2 questions
Yes.
real quick. Did you have a star rating for the Sisters of...
Yes.
Okay.
Hold on. I have to explain the star rating, otherwise people
Okay.
are going to be confused. The star rating is, I actually stole it from Dave Meltzer's wrestling star ratings for wrestling matches because I loved it so much. A normal is 2. That's like borderline, baseline. Okay. So I gave Blind Justice a -1, which I then later made a 0, and I'm keeping at a 0. Sisters, I gave a 2. It was a comic book. It was a goddamn comic book. It was a shame and a waste, but it's a first issue, and it was a comic book. I gave it a 2. Probably going to go down. Maybe it'll go back up. I gave Heavenly Blues a 3.5.
Okay.
And the only reason I kept it there is because almost all of what we talked about is our own ideas of what might be going on. So it did a really good job asking those questions, but I need to read more to give it more of a
I will say, in the podcasts that I've been on here, I've read 6 comic books. This is the first one where I'm like, I want to read this. I want to figure out what's going on.
Cool.
And I also think that it would make for a really good Netflix show.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
If somebody did it right, it's
Nice.
good.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm gonna actually follow it.
Nice. That's high praise. This is the first comic book the Colt would actually like to continue reading. So nice. J-Man?
Yeah, I definitely continue reading it.
Cool.
I am going to continue reading it.
All right.
That's without a doubt.
I would like to start reading.
you can read this one whenever you.
You can read it after the podcast. You should have done your homework.
No one gave me a Cliff's Notes version. I'm sorry.
So next time I have you guys on, I'll make sure to try to.
I mean,
Like
I
yours.
read all 3.
I feel like this is,
Someone was video
hey,
games.
Somebody was busy getting to the dildo
I
level.
also play video games
okay.
as well.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, that's a good.
And I
yeah,
did
that's a good
kick
point.
ass.
Yeah.
Well, you picked up where I left off. You know, I mean, I handed the sticks off after we got to all the good stuff. You know, but I mean, we got to see the dirty needles, the butt plugs, and the dildos. So
Yeah,
I
we-
mean,
I realized we.
You missed the naked chick that cried, though.
What?
And, yes.
Oh,
well, that's true. I'll give you that. But I
Yeah.
also got.
He had a
like,
pretty good run.
I got the dirty. We did get to the dirty flapper dancer on my watch. So
what's that game called? Real fast.
Parodius.
Parodius.
It's a Super Famicom.
Okay,
which
so-
is the Japanese version of Super Nintendo.
Yeah. We I honestly I thought we should have talked about that more, but we can. It's not going anywhere.
We peppered it in.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
What the hell is this with dildos? What?
Yeah.
Video games?
Part of the podcast where we talk about things that people don't get.
Right.
It'll be a spin-off.
They can look it up.
Show. You know?
Well, it's like when you listen to the podcast, you do your homework. You're like, oh shit, I didn't realize that was a thing, and then they can go play it themselves.
I certainly didn't know what I was getting into when I let my 8-year-old play it.
So, Dan.
Yeah, I'm hoping that the trade's out by now.
Yeah, 'cause this came out a while
This issue
ago.
came out in July.
Yeah.
And so I'd like to just pick up the trade and see where it's going.
Yeah.
Oh, so there actually is.
There is
this
more to
old.
read.
This is an old.
Yeah, this is an older one. Yeah, because what we did was we had a kind of a backup of like comics we were meant to get onto the podcast, and we just didn't get to any of them. So like we have a whole back catalog of stuff to read. So this is one of the ones from before. Cool. Yeah, I plan on reading more myself.
Yeah.
So
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did.
good.
Yeah, pick up the trade for probably $8 or $10.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to add to the poop? Cool. Good.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, well, I think that's pretty much good for now. I think it's pretty solid. Episode. So you can find us at grownuphumans.com, at epicastnetwork.com/grownuphumans. Make sure to rate and review the show on all the podcast apps. That really helps us out. We thank you if you would do that. Check us out on social media, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, Facebook, Grown Up Humans or Grown Up Human Comic People, whichever one of those works on any of those things. And let's go around the table and say goodbye to everybody. Kriyas. Cool.
Hadouken.
J-Man.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Brian.
Thanks, guys, and check you out at the con.
Yeah.
Until next time, folks.
And make sure to make Ryan, you want to tell us one more time when the con is going to be?
The con is going to be April 21st and 22nd at the Ace Hotel, and you can find tickets by going to PittsburghRetroGaming.com or look us up on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, and you'll be sure to find us there under Pittsburgh Retro Gaming.
Cool. And Colt, you want to plug the band real fast?
Gray Walker.
Check out Ray Walker.
Just look it up with the E.
Right.
Gray with the E.
Yeah. Important. Good. Very good. Yes. All right. Yeah.
Brian just leveled up with his enunciation. Way to go.
Yeah,
You
good job.
articulated
Very
Children's
deliberate.
Miracle Network.
Yes, Children's Miracle Network.
Well, because he had pizza between.
had
He had some
pizza.
pizza.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. He got
That's
it.
the first thing I had to eat all evening.
Yeah.
I bought my family dinner. I didn't get any.
And
He got pizza power.
Exactly. Pizza time, man.
Pizza power.
Yeah. His life bar was like towards the end, but now
Absolutely.
Yeah. He was about to die, but
I didn't back off.
No. He's got to kill 100 more guys to get an extra life.
Right.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm Jared. That was the show. Thanks for listening. And that's enough of that.
Comic